Hey, what's going on? This is Gold Snaps. This is a Marvel Snap video on Negasonic Teenage Warhead. And going forward, I'm just going to call it Negasonic because that is a really long name. But yeah, I thought it'd be cool to talk about the best ways to use Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Or at least the best ways that I could think of without using the card yet. So I am going to be limited with just my existing knowledge of how the game works versus actually using the card. So if I get anything wrong, feel free to correct me. But yeah, so I'm going to be going over deck archetypes I think is best in. Weak decks it'll be weak against, card synergies, negative synergies, and best and worst locations for it to be in, and the ideal uses for Negasonic Teenage Warhead. And I made the mistake of saying the full name. Okay, so deck archetypes I think this will be best in are control decks, junk decks, and destroy decks. Control decks because if you're leading somewhere, you're coming up on the final turn, and they only have like one location left. Put Negasonic Warhead there, put Negasonic there, and assuming you have priority, then you will destroy that card. And actually that isn't just for control decks, that should be for decks in general, that kind of use. Junk decks, because you are limiting space at all the locations. And so if you can get a location to at least 2 cards, or 2 like rocks or whatever you put on their side, they'll have to put at least 1 card there. And then you can put Negasonic there, prevent them from putting a final card in that location. And then destroy decks. So as far as I know, this is the first card that sets up the destroy trigger in advance. And I think where this will be most interesting is with Nimrod. So yeah, before we could only set up destroying a card after it was put down, but now with this we can put down Negasonic, then put Nimrod the turn after, it'll get destroyed right away. But obviously if they put an armor up, or if Wakanda opens up for some reason, then that will not be possible. But that is really cool. So yeah, we're jumping into the synergies now. I talked about Nimrod. Daredevil, okay? If you have priority, it's turn 5, you see they put the card down, they're only putting down 1 card, then put down Negasonic Teenage Warhead there to negate that card. Storm, although it's a little limited. So normally you could use Storm, use Juggernaut, they put multiple cards there, then you move all of those cards to another location. Except if it's like Sinister or Brood, it only moves the originating card. And then if you put Negasonic Teenage Warhead there, it'll only destroy that first card that is put down. But if you know from your experience that people generally only put 1 card on turn 4, like before Storm shuts down that location, then use Negasonic. If that's not the case, then continue using Juggernaut or whatever else you use. Okay, I think Sandman is interesting, but again, only if the space is limited for like as far as locations where they can put down their cards and how many cards they have each of those locations. You're gonna have to judge where it would be best to put down Negasonic. As far as where the opponent could try to overtake you, and whatever that location is, put Negasonic there, because Sandman is up, you know they can only put down 1 more card, and then put Negasonic there, and then negate that card. Some obvious negative card synergies. If you're going up against a destroy deck, you're actually helping them. So you actually don't want to use Negasonic versus a destroy deck, I think. And then if they're using armor or Colossus or other cards that can't be destroyed, those are other negative card synergies for Negasonic. And then any other cards that can make tokens of themselves, like Sinister, Brood, Squirrel Girl, because I assume the way it works is only going to destroy the originating card. So those are some negative synergies with Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Now, as far as locations, I think Negasonic would work well in Asgard, Hala, Kiln, Gamma Lab. And that's on the assumption that you already are winning in those locations. And then we're also assuming that they're not going to put down more than one card. If you know that those things are true, then you can secure those locations with Negasonic and get your draw, destroy their cards because of Hala, secure Kiln, unless they use move cards or cards that add cards to other locations. And with Gamma Lab doesn't trigger until after the turn is over. So if you have priority and you put down Negasonic Teenage Warhead, then whatever card they put down, you can negate that and make sure that you have more power there than the opponent. I think Bar Sinister is interesting. You put that down on turn 3. You have to assume, well, they have to put a card down. If they don't put a card down, then you're going to take over that location. So in that way, you're forcing them to put a card down in Bar Sinister. Sinister London, just have more Negasonics so that you can destroy more of their cards. Space Throne, same idea as Sinister London. You put that down, then you're forcing them to put down a card there, otherwise they lose that space. Although it could be you could work around that with like a move card or like Doctor Doom. So that is a way around playing into Space Throne if someone puts a Negasonic in Space Throne. And then World Ship, the reason why I call World Ship a good location for Negasonic is because there's overall less space to put cards, and so you can put your Negasonic knowing you're going to destroy something there. But then you just have to decide when is the right time to put that down. Is it the last turn, when you expect something big to come down, or is there some other turn you're expecting something like essential that they're going to put down? Whatever that turn is, put down Negasonic. But for me, I lean towards like the final turn if you're winning, prevent them from putting down any big power. Okay, I think also these locations are also good for Negasonic. They can be anyway. Shadowland, Savageland, and Central Park, because they limit each of those locations by taking up more space. Now, the only caveat to this is that if the opponent suspects that you might put down a Negasonic, they'll try to fill up that space before you put down Negasonic, and that way Negasonic can now not destroy those cards. So as long as you're putting down Negasonic before and you're leading, and you have a way to know that the opponent will put down a card there, then put down Negasonic there to secure that location. Now, obvious locations that are bad for Negasonic. So Wakanda, because you can't destroy anything. Warrior Falls and Rickety Bridge are kind of interesting for Negasonic because they don't happen until after the turn. So if you put down Negasonic and like your opponent puts down a Hulk, then both of those will actually be destroyed. Because the way Negasonic works, or at least the way it reads, is the effect happens right after the opponent plays a card. So if you have priority and you know something big's gonna happen there, then it'll get destroyed. So you can use it in Warrior Falls and Rickety Bridge, but just make sure you have priority. And then Vibranium Mines itself is not a negative synergy for Negasonic, but the Vibranium that comes out of the Vibranium Mines is a negative synergy for Negasonic. But yeah, that is my rundown of the best ways, the best ways, the weaknesses, the best and worst locations for Negasonic. And yeah, and my general opinion is that you use it in a location that you're leading. You use it where they only have one space left to negate whatever card they put down. And yeah, let me know what you thought of my rundown. Let me know if you agree. And yeah, let me know if I missed anything. If you'd like to catch my games, I'll be at twitch.tv/goalsnaps. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe, and happy snapping. Adios.